In 1962, 3 men vanished from the most secure prison in America, Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary. Guards searched the island, boats searched the freezing bay. They were never found. The escape looked impossible, but it wasn't luck, it was a system. A 5-step blueprint Frank Morris built while breaking out of a prison designed to break people. Strangely, that same blueprint works anywhere you feel trapped, especially with habits that feel impossible to escape. And blueprint number 5 is the mindset shift that turns strategy into escape. January 1960. Frank Morris steps onto Alcatraz Island and into a system built to end stories. This prison doesn't just hold men, it finishes them. An island wrapped in freezing water and violent currents. A building run like a machine. Routine, observation, control. Movement dictated, silence enforced. Most inmates saw an impenetrable system. Morris, a man with an IQ of 133, 11 prior successful prison breaks, and a mind trained to look past steel and search for frayed seams, sees a puzzle. Within days of arriving, he notices something small, a single flaw hiding in plain sight. Saltwater moisture had been seeping into the cement walls for decades, not enough for guards to notice, not enough for prisoners to care, but enough to make Morris curious. When he scrapes a fingernail along the wall, he sees it subtly crumble, just slightly, a few grains. A weakness. And just like a tiny spark can illuminate an entire room, this single discovery sets off a cascade of revelations that begins with a crumbling wall and ends in a vanishing act. Morris begins plotting. Blueprint 1. Find the flaw. Most people try to overpower their wall. They attack the whole problem at once head-on. They declare war on everything, and eventually, they lose. Morris didn't start with force, he started with observation. No system is flawless, no habit is airtight. There is always a seam, a moment, a trigger, a weakness. Escape doesn't begin with motivation, it begins by believing that any wall can crumble under the right leverage. Morris reasons that even if he can dig through his cell wall, Alcatraz isn't the real prison. San Francisco Bay is. Frigid water, unpredictable currents, and a swim that could shut your body down within minutes. Crossing the bay is a problem that Morris cannot currently solve. He recognizes that he will eventually need help here. After all, escape would be pointless if it only resulted in drowning. So he makes a quiet move. Through prison back channels, he arranges for 2 inmates, brothers John and Clarence Anglin, to be moved into the cells beside his. The Anglin brothers grew up swimming in cold, dangerous waters, and Morris needs them to solve the part he can't. For now, however, the first job is simple, but dangerous. July 1960. They begin digging with sharpened spoons stolen from the cafeteria. Slowly they scrape at the concrete surrounding the ventilation grates in their cells. The goal is to widen the hole around the grate wide enough to crawl through. Weeks pass scraping at the cement. Constant supervision by the guards makes every single scrape a liability. Millimeter by millimeter, grain by grain, their progress is almost insulting in its slowness, but it is progress. Blueprint 2. Tolerate invisible progress. This is where most escapes die. Not because the wall is too strong, but because progress is sometimes invisible. Progress that feels slow is still erosion, and progress that feels insignificant is still structural. Most people quit when they can't see change fast enough, but Morris understood something critical. Freedom is built in grains. If you can't tolerate invisible progress, you'll never stay long enough to see visible gains. Meanwhile, in his cell, of the many problems he has yet to solve, Morris obsesses over one. Digging blindly could mean breaking through the wall only to hit reinforced concrete, or worse, a dead end. And that risk is unacceptable. Undaunted, Morris talks to prisoners until he eventually finds what he's looking for. A prisoner who works maintenance jobs. Someone who sees parts of the prison even the guards don't know about. Through him, Morris learns of the utility corridor running directly behind the wall of his cell. And something even more valuable, a blind spot on the roof, no guards, no spotlights. For the first time, though far from complete, the escape has direction. April 1961. Morris is meticulous and patient, but he's also painfully aware that digging with spoons will take years. so the moment an opportunity presents itself, he moves without hesitation. Morris bribes an unsuspecting guard to let him keep the motor from a broken vacuum cleaner he found in the workshop. After all, what use could a broken motor be to a prisoner? Morris repairs it immediately and turns it into a drill. A sharpened bolt becomes the bit. Progress accelerates 100-fold overnight, but so do the risks. The drill screams through the walls of the prison block. One wrong sound and discovery is guaranteed. But Morris's solution for this is as genius as it is simple. He remembers prisoners are allowed to play music during certain hours, so Morris does something ridiculous on purpose. He learns to play the accordion loudly and badly. Evening after evening, he and the Angling brothers butcher songs with complete commitment, never improving, never refining, never getting any better. Because the chaotic noise covers the clean mechanical whine of the drill. Guards become conditioned to their playing. Night after night, they listen to them practice while the drilling continues unnoticed. But every step forward makes the consequences sharper and the chances of discovery more probable. With the damage to the walls becoming more visible now, Morris needs to find a way to conceal it from the guards. Once again, Morris is consumed by finding another solution. Blueprint 3. Adapt to new constraints. Every time Morris made progress, the prison pushed back. When he dug faster, the noise increased. When he widened the hole, debris piled up. When he gained more ground, the risk of detection grew. Progress didn't make things easier, it created new problems. Breaking a bad habit works the same way, and most people succumb to this new friction. Morris treated it as proof he was getting closer. When the system adjusts, you adjust faster. Escape belongs to the flexible. Morris decides it's time for the team to improve their art skills. With cardboard paint and papier-mâché, they begin crafting fake ventilation grates to replace the real ones they are quietly destroying. Every detail matters: the texture, the color, even the rust patterns. When they finish, the replicas are nearly indistinguishable from the originals. September 1961. Morris finally breaks through the wall and slips into the narrow utility corridor behind it. Now he's in uncharted territory. He has no real plan beyond this point, only a single objective: find a way to the roof. So he climbs. 60 feet up slick metal pipes, inch by inch, until the climb delivers him exactly where he hoped: the roof of the prison. Along the way, he discovers a hidden 4-foot crawl space above the cell block, dark, dusty, and invisible. It becomes their workshop, a new base of operations. From here they can plan, build, and move without being seen, because the real problem is now unavoidable: crossing the bay, and Morris, obsessed with escape, still hasn't solved it. Blueprint 4. Establish the workshop. Breaking through isn't escape, it's leverage. Most people celebrate this first breakthrough: 3 days clean, a week consistent, one small win. Then they relax. But Morris didn't relax here. He secured the space, he built from it, he defended it. Progress must be protected or it collapses. Progress compounds from defended ground. May 1962. From that tiny crawl space, they build Morris's list of increasingly impossible items one by one. Papier-mâché heads with real hair taken from the barbershop floor. Painted with stolen paint to appear flesh tone, these heads were placed on their pillows to fool the guards performing nighttime bed checks. An inflatable raft made from over 50 stolen raincoats, layered, stitched, and heat-sealed on a steam pipe cemented with stolen contact glue. A rapid inflation system for the raft that takes inflation time down from 30 minutes to 5. Improvised wetsuits from sealed prison clothing lined with machine oil. Even life vests made with more raincoats, the design of which comes courtesy from the prison library. They are now as ready as they will ever be. June 11th, 11:30 p.m., 1962. Morris even slaves over choosing the specific date and time. The date aligns with the new moon, which provides maximum darkness to conceal them. The time coincides with the weakest currents from the bay. On this night, they crawl, climb, cross, descend, inflate, and push off. They are never seen again. To the guards, it looked like one dramatic act. It wasn't. The system was dismantled long before the water, one flaw, one grain, one constraint at a time. Frank Morris didn't start with an escape plan, he started with a crumbling wall, and that's how impossible problems fall, piece by piece. Blueprint 5. Become the type that escapes. Morris didn't casually want freedom, he was consumed by it. Every scrape mattered, every adjustment was fine-tuned and tested, every risk was calculated. This wasn't a hobby, it wasn't self-improvement, it was survival. And that's the difference most people miss. They try to break habits when it's convenient, when motivation is high, when life is calm. Morris didn't wait for calm or clarity, he made escape non-negotiable. And until change feels less like something you should do, and more like something you refuse to live without, the wall will keep winning. The blueprint gives you direction, but obsession gives you movement. And the moment you decide that staying trapped is no longer acceptable, that's when the wall begins to crumble. Remember, every scrape counts.